Hello, hello, hola, beautiful community, and welcome to another Elevative Shots episode. I always say that all of the episodes are special, but I promise you this one is extra, extra special, and you will see why. With me today, Ashlee Berry, the CEO of Property Council ACT and Capital Region Executive Director. Welcome, Ashlee, to one of my shots. And how are you
Thank
doing
you.
today?
I'm doing really, really well, Mariana. It's a beautiful day and I'm really excited to be here. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you for accepting. There's always purpose in the shots, and this one is a bit different. We're gonna be talking about leadership, but we're also gonna be talking about Ashlee's passion for advocacy. So let me tell you a little bit about her before I formally begin the different questions that we have for today's episode. So Ashlee is an advocate for the property and construction sector. She really ensures that her members have a really productive and successful businesses. She enjoys the challenges associated with working in an industry association and have strong relationship with members and external stakeholders. Ashlee and I share now common passion along with 26 more women because we both, she actually invited me and I'm really honored to be part of the the Vinnies CEO Sleepout initiative in the ACT and to be part of the Women Building Change team, which I'm going to let her tell you a little bit or more about that. And Ashley, I don't think we actually talked about this, but I normally like to ask everyone that comes to this space to tell us a fun fact about you. And I might be putting you on the spot, but what is a fun fact?
That's fine, Mariana. I'm used to being put on the spot. A fun fact, it's not a secret fun fact, but I have two little boys. They're almost five, almost three. And I've said many times they're the best thing about my life, but they're also the hardest and most challenging. And so I have been tested in ways that I never thought that I would be tested before by having two munchkins. So I'm not sure if it's a fun fact, but
It's a,
I enjoy it a lot more than what I ever thought that I would.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
Despite of the challenge, and I think, oh, that's life at the end of the day, right?
it really is.
You see the opportunities and learning a lot about that experience. Well, thank you. So talking about that, Ashlee, when you know wearing the hat of the CEO of the property counseling,
Mm.
you are leading the way of the property council and also championing the CEO Sleepout through women and building change. What does leading with purpose mean to you, both in your professional role and your advocacy work?
If we start with Vinnie's CEO Sleepout and the women building change, I mean, for me, that's just an example of not just myself leading with purpose, but a huge community movement of leading with purpose. We've got 28 amazing women CEOs, senior leaders across property and construction. And instead of maybe competing, there's still a little bit of competitiveness, which is healthy competitiveness, I say. But instead of competing against each other, we have joined forces and had people join who have never done the CEO sleep out before, and yourself, I think, included,
That's, yep.
and people who have never even thought that, hey, I could do this. Maybe they're a little bit scared or didn't want to do it by themselves. And so for me, getting people to come on that journey with us is for me is a perfect example of that leading with purpose, because you need to be there, but you also need to provide that level of encouragement, that level of I'll help you, but also you've got this, to your team and to our fellow teammates. And it's pretty amazing, setting a target of $200,000. And I checked earlier, we're nearly at 120, or
Wow.
maybe even a little bit over now. So it's amazing. It's such an incredible movement. And for me, it shows what amazing things can happen when you're authentic, when Vinnies is a great cause, obviously, but this is the sort of momentum that they've been crying out for, and getting new people involved and understanding what what needs to be done and what can be done. So that's from a Vinnies perspective, and I adopt that same approach to my day job here at the property council. So for me, it's so important. Property, it's not just about the buildings, it's about the places, the spaces that we live in, we work in, that we use to get from one place to another. And we all have property entwined in our lives. It's all important to us. And so for me, I love being in Canberra. It's a big community, and it's easy to lead from that perspective because I'm passionate about it. I believe in not just what I do every day, but what my members are doing, and that sense of community that they're creating around Canberra. And so that's what I bring, every day to my role, is that I'm out there. I'm being true to what I think needs to be done, and being honest and a bit competitive, as I said as well.
I think it's if I go back to many things that you mentioned, but one that particular, I think there's the intersection in between both roles is the authenticity, right? And the authenticity to
Absolutely.
do this connection with people. As you said, it's not only places, it's also the people and the relationships that you create and that sense of community. And
So
I'm grateful.
important.
I'm so grateful because I particularly support Vinnies from the experience of the night patrol, and I go out
Mm.
every month to see the reality with people experiencing homelessness in the ACT. And for me, being part of this initiative is to support what I see Vinnies does every
Yep.
single day of the year. And it's tangible. It's tangible for me to see the food that we provide, the drinks that we provide, the connection we provide is real. And it makes a huge impact. Just to tell you, and it's not about me, but it's about you. But just to tell you a really powerful story of one of
Mm.
these people. It's already it's familiar for me. I'm familiar for him. And every time I go out, we just simply say hi and have a conversation. Last time he had a bag of a good bakery here in Canberra, a bag of bread from that bakery.
Mm.
And I say, hey, delicious. This looks amazing. I say, well, yeah, I got it from the church. He said, you want it? And I'm like, no, 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 I don't. And then it's like, well, maybe one bun if you want. And he's like, no, 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 I'm gonna give you the whole bag. I think you need and deserve the whole bag.
Mm.
What a powerful lesson for me.
And you've hit the nail on the head. It's about connection. As part of my role as being one of the Vinnies CEO Sleepout ambassadors, I got to tour around and go to Samaritan House and go to Blue Door in the city, and the incredible work that is being done by Vinnies. It's not just about giving people a roof over their head or a hot meal, two very important and
Mm-hmm.
vital things, especially as we head into winter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about that connection and that sense of community,
Yep.
and giving people the opportunity to feel valued and feel that connection both with each other and with the Vinnies volunteers. It was really powerful, and we can't underestimate that sense of connection and community.
It's by only saying how have you been, how's your day being, it's just more than enough for them in that
So
sense,
simple.
getting just
Yeah.
that sense of value. And I guess that was one of the reasons why I said yes, because I already experienced that, but I wanted to be part of the fundraising and the
Yeah.
community working together as a team is incredible. So leading with purpose. Um,
Absolutely.
I have another question around the property, but I'm gonna leave it to the end. And since we're still talking about Vinnies and
Mm.
our shared experience with Vinnies, remind us of the importance of compassion in leadership. How do you see
Absolutely.
that initiative like the CEO Sleepout influencing not just the community outcomes, but also how we lead and connect
Mm.
inside of our organizations?
It's a great question. For me, I mean, again, not to keep using the word, but it comes back to connection. So to have compassion, you need you need to have that connection with your team and understand. Maybe you don't need to understand exactly what they're going through, but even just understanding that they may be going through something.
Hmm.
One of the best bits of advice that I received around being a leader and being a mentor is never assume what someone is capable of for them. Let them tell you what they are capable of. So, you know, and that applies in what we're doing with Vinnies as well, but particularly with team members. We all go through rough times at home, things maybe not so great, or there's other stresses either at work or at home. But don't ever not give someone a task or not give them an opportunity because you feel like you're protecting them, because actually you're not. It's about being upfront, having the conversation with them and saying, hey, there's a great opportunity, but I know you've got a bit going on. What do you think? And for me, that's been a really valuable lesson that I've learned. And the other thing that the CEO Sleepout has taught me, and that I would hope other people that are doing it take back to their organizations, is the importance of saying yes and getting involved and creating. Again, it comes back to people, creating communities, creating networks. And connections are powerful, and not in a a false networky sales kind of way, but just in a the beauty of a shared experience. And going through this is, I'm hoping that we will create those sort of connections, across the property industry, but in different
Hmm.
areas, that will create those connections for quite some time.
Yeah, I think the previous episode I spoke to Alfred, and he works as a people and culture leader in one of the departments, federal government departments, and he said something so powerful. If we start seeing connection as part of your leadership values, you'll do it just because, I mean, from authenticity and your identity, right? You're
Mm,
not going to be forced to connect. It's part of yourself, right? And I thought that was really powerful because, yes, I do believe that sometimes, it's leaving the role outside of the door for a second and being here as humans first
mm.
is fundamental to create that
It's so
trust and that
important.
rapport and then that compassion.
Absolutely. And it's not hard. It's not hard to be kind and compassionate, or sorry, it shouldn't be hard to be kind and compassionate.
Exactly.
but but I think some people do struggle with that, and it's not
Hmm.
about being a pushover or letting bad behavior slide or anything like that. It's just about being compassionate and considerate. You can still be very firm to values, to integrity, to performance, and do it in a really compassionate way. I think it's vital.
Vital. And
Mm.
talking about compassion and kindness, the property sector has traditionally been male dominated, similar
Mm.
to construction and engineering. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love the women building change team, because they all come from those male dominated spaces, but they're all women,
Yeah.
inspiring change, not only for the CEO Sleep Out, but in their industries and areas. What have you learned in your experience about driving cultural and systematic change within the workplace, and how can leaders build more inclusive, forward-thinking environments?
Mm. It's a great question, and it's a tough one, and it's something
Mm-hmm.
that I so pre before I had kids, I was a little bit, maybe not blasé is the right word, but I didn't think there were as many barriers for women in male dominated industries as what there clearly are, because
Mm-hmm.
I was younger, and I could make the breakfasts at 7 a.m. because I only had myself to worry about, and I could work late, and I could do all of those things, and I just went along with it while still being a strong female in a male dominated industry. It didn't affect me as much as what I saw it affecting others. And then I had children. And if that wasn't enough of a wake up call from having kids, let alone, sleepless nights and things like that, it was, and again, I said before, don't assume what someone is capable of. It was having the kids and people automatically thinking that I would go to work part time, or that I wasn't available for a meeting, or I didn't want to take on certain things, or that I, was going to drop back. And that for me was a real eye opener, that we still have so far to go in sort of, bringing women up through the ranks. We know that women across the board often stop, drop out of the rat race, so to speak, when they start having families, because it's just too hard trying to juggle everything. And so for me, I've really, since having kids, really tried to make sure that my teams understand that you can have both. You can have a career, you can have kids. It takes a lot of work though, and it takes a lot of, I don't subscribe to work-life balance. I think that's BS. For me, it's a bit of work-life integration, and there are some times where work takes over, and there are some times where kids take over.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, I mean, I'm lucky. I work in an office. I'm not out on site like some women in construction, or I'm not a nurse, I'm not a teacher, I don't have to be on site. I've got a whole lot of flexibility that a lot of women in traditionally female dominated areas, they just don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's about having conversations. And so I am very open on LinkedIn, with my members, with government, that I have two young kids, and there are times when I'm not going to be able to do things because I've got them. I live in fear of every live radio interview I do in the morning. At some point, one of the boys is going to run in and scream something out. I'm just waiting for the data, for it to
Mm-hmm.
happen. But for me, it's about being open and honest, and I hope by doing that I can, not necessarily, I don't want to say inspire, but I can show someone who is thinking, can I do all of this? Well, yeah, you can. Absolutely. It's not easy, but it's small baby steps, and we will get there. There's certainly, I think we've got progress, but there is still a hell of a long way to go before things are equal.
Yeah, I agree with you. There are a couple of things that I want to highlight there. Well, the first one, I like that concept of work-life integration. And yeah, sometimes I was just reading a book, and sometimes as a business owner, so my situation is a bit different, but with similarities, is
Yep.
how do you still prioritize everything and then set the boundaries? So let's say
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have dinner with husband, and it's gonna be our time from 7 to 8, but then from 8 to 10, I need to finish something. So it's
Yep.
how you integrate with the flexibility that you have. So I think that's one. And then I think coming back to the authenticity, being authentic.
Yep.
I have two kids, and being human, right? This is what makes me
Correct.
human, and is part of being, a mom, or a CEO, or a partner. So it's understanding that there's different responsibilities and these are different roles, but hopefully inspiring. I think it is inspiring to people, or sorry, people in general, but women, to believe that to have the confidence. I think there's a lack of confidence there because the system sometimes gets you, and
Correct.
but it's
And
finding. Mhm.
I've noticed quite a bit in terms of the system. It's a really good point that increasingly men my age or younger really want to take on more of a greater role for their families, and
Yes.
the sector and the culture doesn't quite allow that across the board, and that's not just a property sector issue. It's just a cultural thing still, that
Yep.
and until we can change that, that's when I think we'll see some real advancement in terms of culture across the board. We need to get better at,
Mm-hmm.
if a dad wants to take some time off with his kids, don't say to him something like, well, where's their mother? Like, that's,
Yeah.
that to me just blows my mind that that still happens. I think that will be a huge win, for equality across our culture if we can get that right.
And I think the language, it's like, well, he's going to help, or I'm going to help.
Yep.
Help?
No,
Nope. No, no, no. It is a shared responsibility here. So it's what
absolutely.
you do and what I do, and together, fabulous partnership. But it's not my
Correct.
responsibility, and you are helping me. So it's so powerful to reframe the language as well. And
So important.
yeah, and the courage at the end of the day for women is having the courage, even when,
Mm,
as I said, the system, the culture, is not supporting you in the way that you will expect. Still do it. I think it's a great role modeling there.
thank
Well,
you.
Ash, I'm really grateful. I think time flies. I don't even know, but I know that we probably are up to our time. Um, what is something that you want to tell us before you leave today? It could be something about your leadership, your experiences, and advice. What's one thing that you want to share with us?
I live by a quote, and I don't know who to attribute it to, but and again, it's a little bit on the balance side of things. So we're all juggling, and it applies to whether you're in business, whether you're balancing families. It's life. We're all juggling a whole lot of balls in the air. Some are glass, some are plastic.
Mhm.
And the thing I live by is just don't drop the glass balls. So you can drop the plastic ones, and sometimes the plastic ones are work things, sometimes they're kids, but they're little things. Just don't drop the glass balls, let the plastic ones go, and you'll be fine.
Beautiful. Yeah. And how do you prioritize and
Correct.
pay attention to the glass walls? No, also the plastic, but it's okay to let go sometimes.
Absolutely. Yes. I've learnt that. Sometimes you just need to let go.
So no, it's not gonna break. The plastic one will be there, and you can pick it up later, maybe
Exactly.
in a different
Exactly.
way. It's gonna evolve. It's gonna be another type of
Correct.
ball. Well, Ashlee,
Yep.
I'm really grateful for you and your time today.
Thank you.
Obviously, it's a huge call to action for our Vinnies CEO Sleepout. I'm going to add the pages to donate to
Brilliant.
Ashlee, our team, obviously myself, but I think it's a team at the end of the day. If you're going to donate, go to the team and do it.
Go to the team.
I think that's the best way. We also having comedy night on the 5th of June next week. And that's another great way to support, and it's gonna be fun. And we're
It's going to
gonna
be
be
great.
supporting a beautiful cause. So we also gonna be having a pledge. We actually have a pledge wall in Fish Week, and we're gonna be beating plenty and amazing different auction items there. So there's a lot of ways to support, and every dollar counts, and will support our beautiful mission and vision from Vinnies. Thank you, Ash.
Thank you.
I'll see you on the 19th of June, sleeping out for a great cause. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.